Wonder Woman was never a great character. The number one reason that she was never great is because she's not based on a great idea. Now, if you actually did a character that was an Amazon, that was based on Greek mythology, that might be a good idea, although it's very derivative of, obviously, mythology, and it's very limited. But Wonder Woman is not that character. Wonder Woman has never been played as an Amazon, and aside from having a few supporting villains from Greek mythology, nothing much has ever been done with the mythology. Wonder Woman instead is a mismatch. A mixed bag. She was introduced during World War II as a patriotic character. She wears a red, white, and blue uniform. She has an eagle on her bustier, an American eagle, and she wears blue hot pants with white stars on them. And the only problem with this is that it's great to be patriotic for America, but Wonder Woman is not an American. She's not from America. She's from an island that was not involved in World War II, an island that was completely unknown to both the Allies and the Axis. So she meets Steve Trevor and decides, I'm going to take sides. And she gets on the right side, good for her, and decides, I'm going to be a super patriot for a country that I wasn't born in, a country that is only part of the Allies. She's not a super patriot for the UK, which is also on the same side. She's not a super patriot for any other country, but she becomes a super patriot for America, and even after the war ends, she wears red, white, and blue. She dresses like a flag every single time she goes into action, but she really has no rational reason to be a super patriot or to wear red, white, and blue, except for the fact that her comic was released during World War II, and Captain America was a big hit for a rival publisher. So that's probably the only reason right there, and that's not a good reason to give a character a costume like that. Wonder Woman's powers, what even are they? They're a complete mixed bag. She's strong. We know she can beat up men, but is she strong like Superman? Well, her strength has varied a lot over the years. She has quick reflexes. She's fast. She's able to jump out of the way of, death-dealing devices, the way superheroes are prone to. But how fast is she? She uses her silver bracelets to block bullets. Okay. A bullet moves very, very fast. If you can move your arm fast enough and accurately enough to block the bullet, there's either you have the sort of speed that the Flash does, which she's never shown in any other capacity except for blocking bullets, or you have some sort of Zen luck that allows you to start moving way before the trigger is pulled, and somehow your arm is in the right spot when the trigger is pulled. Neither one of these really makes sense if you try to apply it to everything else that the character does. If Wonder Woman has the speed to move her arm fast enough to block a bullet, then why can't she run fast like the Flash? Why can't she run faster than the eye can follow? She doesn't, though. What other powers does she have? Well, she has a magic rope. There's a popular thing. There's been so many characters with magic ropes, right? There are a dime a dozen. But she has a magic rope which she ties into a lasso, and she ropes people with it. Now, who uses a lasso? A cowboy? Yeah, a cowboy. Where did Wonder Woman learn her cowboy technique? Well, she's not a cowboy. Oh, see, this is what you get when you live close to a fire station. I hear there's a major emergency down there, and you can hear the sirens in the background, even though I've got the windows shut on my porch. They're probably going to come right down this street. But I'm going to continue on anyways. Is she a cowboy? No. Where did she learn to rope people? We don't know. She's just some sort of super Amazon, super patriot, red, white, and blue bracelet-wearing cowgirl, I guess would be the best description of her. And a jet fighter pilot, of course, because we can't forget that Wonder Woman has an invisible fighter jet. How do these things go together? They don't. They don't go together. They don't add up to any sort of theme whatsoever. Patriotism for America doesn't go with Amazons living on an island, which doesn't go with magic ropes, which doesn't go with cowboy tricks, which doesn't go with bracelets, which doesn't go with invisible aircraft. Okay, none of these things go together. There is no theme to Wonder Woman. There is no overarching concept that you can hang your hat on. I mean, Spider-Man, for example, is a character with a good theme. He's got proportional strength to a spider, and he crawls on the walls. He sticks to walls. And he shoots webbing out of his device. It all works together. Hulk is mad, gets strong, smashes things. It all fits together. Everything the Hulk does fits with Hulk. Everything Spider-Man does fits with Spider-Man. You know, everything Batman does fits with Batman. Batman's devices are all related to fighting crime, and he's a crime fighter. Everything on his utility belt is either for detecting crime or fighting crime. You know, so, and he's a self-made man, so he uses a lot of gimmicks instead of superpowers. You know, good heroes have a theme that holds together. Wonder Woman does not. Okay, but let's move beyond that. Let's criticize the art. Harry Peter. Go on. I hope that's his real name, because if he thinks that's a funny pseudonym, it's not, really. But Harry Peter is the Golden Age artist. Harry Peter is nobody's favorite Golden Age artist. If you polled comic book artists and writers and editors and said, name the top 3 Golden Age artists, nobody would name Harry Peter in the top 3. If you used all those top 3s that you got from your poll and used them to create a top 10, Harry Peter would be nowhere on that top 10. Harry Peter might be in the top 100 Golden Age artists. He might be. He might not be. I don't know. I'd have to take a good look at all the Golden Age artists before saying he's even in the top 100. But he's not a great artist. His art is flat. His women are manly. His art is stiff. It doesn't flow well. His panel-to-panel continuity is mediocre. His flow of the action on the page is mediocre. Everything is very stiff and static, and the women are very manly and, frankly, rather unappealing. Considering that Wonder Woman is wearing a costume that, if you saw it on your average sexually attractive woman, it would be a major hubba hubba moment. You would be very into it. It's a very sexy costume. It shows all of her legs, and she's got a bustier on top. Her shoulders are bare. She's showing cleavage. She's showing legs. She's wearing tight hot pants. A character wearing this costume should be sexy. But the way Harry Peter draws her, she's simply not sexy or even attractive. She's a very manly looking, very stiffly moving caricature of a sexy woman. So Harry Peter is a very mediocre artist, even by Golden Age standards, and there was a lot of crappy art in the Golden Age. But you know what? There was also a lot of great art. Off the top of my head, I could probably name a dozen artists that are much better than Harry Peter. Want to see me try? Okay, let's go. Joe Simon, Jack Kirby, Will Eisner, Mac Rayboy, Lou Fine, Basil Wolverton, Fran Hopper, Lily Renee, Tarp Mills, Matt Baker, Kaida, Fred Kaida. I'm trying to think of a specific artist now, and I'm blanking him out, but there's a lot. My point is, there's a lot of Golden Age artists. I was at 11. Who was that? Fuji was the one I was trying to name. And then you got Jerry Robinson, you know, you got Siegel and Schuster, I mean, Bob Kane. They're all better artists than Harry Peter. I mean, even Bob Kane, whose art was very crude in the beginning, developed into a better artist than Harry Peter. So, and that's not all of them, but I did just name a dozen off the top of my head. And it's very easy to do, because he's not anybody's favorite Golden Age artist, anybody that knows anything about Golden Age art. So I would say number 1 reason she's not a great character is because she's such a mixed bag without a theme of fairly nonsensical powers. And number 2 reason she's not a great character is because the art was mediocre. The number 3 reason she's not a great character is William Moulton Marston. William Moulton Marston, the psychiatrist who was the author of Wonder Woman, was a very kinky man. And he could not resist putting his own personal stamp and his own personal kink on Wonder Woman. Guess where the idea of the golden rope that makes you tell the truth comes from? It comes from the fact that William Moulton Marston was an S&M, bondage freak. And he and his wife and Olivia, who was his lover and his wife's lover, this threesome, the psychiatrist and 2 women, one of whom he's married to, had many kinky sexual encounters between the 3 of them and various pairings of the twosomes. And Moulton Marsden loved to be tied up. This is not a conspiracy theory or something off some flaky website. This is an established fact. Moulton Marsden wrote about his bondage fetish, and he even wrote about after, years later, after he got the job for Wonder Woman. Not before, or he probably wouldn't have got it, but many years later, he wrote articles about bondage and submission. And Moulton Marsden actually believed that everybody should be tied up. This is how much of a freak he was. It wasn't enough for him to say, I'm into this and I want to be left alone to be into it, because I'm fine with that. But William Moulton Marsden, he wanted everybody to be tied up. He felt bondage was the thing for everybody, and that only by being tied up and being completely helpless at another person's mercy could you really experience the truth of your inner self. That's what this guy, flaky William Moulton Marsden, actually believed. So he gave Wonder Woman a golden rope, and when she ties it around you, or lassos you, or wraps you around you in any way, you're compelled to tell the truth, because William Moulton Marsden believed that being tied up and being helpless was the one true road to inner truth. Okay, that's true. And also, the silver bracelets of Wonder Woman were directly inspired by this large, clunky silver bracelets that his lover and his wife's lover, Olivia, always wore. Always wore large silver bracelets. So there's another little personal thing that he stuck in there. But it wasn't enough for him to give her this magic rope. He had to go a bit further and continually insert bondage scenes into Wonder Woman. I read one analysis that said if you count all the panels that Wonder Woman was in, the panels within the page that show Wonder Woman, okay, if you count them, there is bondage in 25% of the panels that Wonder Woman appeared in. 1/4 of all the panels she appeared in. Either she is tied up, or she has her lasso around someone tying them up, or she's got someone tied into some configuration. There's actually a story where Wonder Woman captures a bunch of bad women and ties them up with these exotic rope ties, and has them all on a large platter that she's holding up like a waitress. It's like, here, take your pick of these bound women. And I believe it's the same story where she has the women's arms bound, and then she puts these deer heads with deer skins on top of their heads, and like runs them through the forest as if they're to make them animals. Things like that happened in Wonder Woman. So reason number 3 that Wonder Woman was never a great character is that the author, despite being a well-known psychiatrist who had way more education and credentials than most of the people who wrote comics, the author was a flake who couldn't resist putting his own personal kink on a comic and his own personal fetish in there. So the number 1 reason is that was never great is that it's a mishmash of things that has no theme. The number 2 reason is that the art sucked. The number 3 reason is that it's needlessly kinky, where the kink has no real storytelling purpose. I would say the number 4 reason is because of sales. Because Wonder Woman, now here a Wonder Woman defender is going to jump in and say, well, Wonder Woman was only one of 3 DC titles that wasn't canceled in the 50s when the superhero boom collapsed, and when the other genres like romance and crime and war and jungle and Western comics were all, taking off. Wonder Woman was one of the rare superhero titles that wasn't canceled. Well, that's great. It wasn't canceled, but I don't know what the motivation for that was. The motivation, I do not believe, was because it was the 3rd best-selling title. I think that there was a decision made at DC Comics that they wanted to have a female character. They felt that the female character would appeal to the girl readers, and that they felt in the interest of balance they wanted to keep their female character out there. Wonder Woman has never been a spectacular seller. Her book is currently down to a ridiculously low sales figure, despite the fact that this is the year that her I saw a sales report from the 60s that had Wonder Woman in the 30s, like 30 something in terms of overall sales, with more than 30 comics above her. I saw a sales figure from much more recently that had her the 60th out of 66 comics listed. I can't remember the year, but she's consistently outsold by almost every other superhero comic on the market, and her own title, the sales history of it in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s has been that it has wavered close to cancellation on more than one occasion. So sales, she was not a hit character. Sales were never impressive. They were always mediocre on Wonder Woman. They continue to be mediocre today. She's gotten more hype and publicity this year because of the movie than the characters had probably in my lifetime, and the sales are still very low. So Wonder Woman, never a great character. Nothing particularly appealing about her. She's a themeless mishmash of random concepts. She's needlessly kinky. The original art was crap. And she not only not good, she doesn't sell. The fans know she's not good, and that's why she doesn't sell. So that's my take on Wonder Woman. If you want to watch the much longer video, which is like a half-hour long, it's on my abandoned YouTube channel called the channel was called Underground Artist, and I abandoned that because when you Google search Underground Artist on YouTube, you get like a million pages of crap, everything from hip-hop videos to performance art to you name it, you know. So that's my abandoned channel if you want to try and find my Wonder Woman video. But my opinion, and I reviewed the movie there too as well in the course of that longer video, and my basic opinion of the movie is it was okay. You know, it wasn't great. It has some real continuity boners in it and some laughable parts, but overall I'd say it was okay. I don't think they've actually blown it yet. They'll blow it with the Justice League movie, no doubt. But so my opinion, Wonder Woman, never a great character. Okay, and I'll be talking to you again about some more deep comic stuff real soon.